Hey neighbor, the garden is in full force and we thought, why not talk about when to harvest? This would be a good time to talk about some of those details of when to harvest certain vegetables and fruits as well. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. Well, I can tell you one thing, the heat is coming along. Heat's here, we're moving along, it's hot.
Hot.
Dry.
Everybody's complaining.
Yeah.
Looks like we got some rain coming in the end of next week.
So we're trying to put a roof on our house, and we're thankful for the dry weather. But we're kind of a mixed bag. We need a shower, but we don't want it to mess up our roofers re-roofing the house. So kind of I tell people, our friends up north, I said, now by the 4th of July, we're going to be pretty much wound down with our spring garden. We're on the, would you say we're in the middle of it right now? I'd say we're in the middle of harvest right now. Everything's coming in. Oh, our sweet corn's gone, but our field corn's still coming along.
Everything's come in early.
You think?
Well, yeah, usually our corn's not in until closer around the 4th of July.
No.
It came in way early.
I planted a little bit, but normally, we have sweet corn by the 1st of June,
And our watermelons usually is a little bit later. Yeah. We always have watermelons by the 4th of July.
We have watermelons at the 4th of July. We wind it down by the 4th of July.
Yeah. The pecan tree has watermelons under it.
Yeah.
You know it's summertime when you ride by a house.
Yeah. Tomatoes are coming in well, peppers, man, it's all kind of stuff. We're going to talk about some of those details today of when to harvest, because there's a couple of tricks on some things. I actually found it interesting on harvesting certain things, doing a little research there, so we're going to dig into that. You got anything interesting growing?
Edamame is ready.
Edamame, which is a soybean, folks, if you don't know what it is, and it makes a wonderful snack. We ate a bowl full of it last night, just sitting there eating it. It's healthy.
It just kind of reminds me of boiled peanuts.
Yeah, so you just pick it. It's a soybean, but it's a particular variety of soybeans. We actually sell it. And then you just boil it and put a little sea salt on there.
It's really good for female issues.
It's good for eating issues. It's delicious. Healthy snack.
That bowl was full when I walked up here earlier.
Oh, really? It's gone. It'll be gone quick. You just run up through there and shuck them out. Yeah. We got all kind of things. Poblano peppers, tomatoes, watermelons, cantaloupes. When do you pick these different things? Now, some of them will ripen after you pick them. Some of them will not. Let's first talk about tomatoes. Well, first of all, I got nasturtium. I planted yesterday. Edible flowers. I'm in edible flowers right now. So I got nasturtium planted yesterday. I'm interested to see how that does. I got borage planted, which is an edible flower. So I'm moving in that. Maybe we'll show some of that later on when I have some of it up and growing. I moved to some of these more heat-loving crops right now. But anyway, back to tomatoes, because tomatoes are coming in.
Well, why don't we talk just everything in general, that you really use your senses to determine. You look at it, the color.
Yes, but there are certain things that will ripen that you can get by with picking, and certain things that you cannot.
Right, but you look at the color, you feel it. Does it feel it? You smell it. Some things, like cantaloupes, you smell.
Cantaloupes you can smell. Cantaloupes are easy because they get a golden color. You want to pick those. Speaking of cantaloupe, right here's one. Now the net is not real good on this right here. I had to pick this one just to show everybody. Still got some green in there. That one there's not quite ready. You want it that golden color there. Now this one here has very little netting on there, which is concerning.
Well, now I had one yesterday that was sleek like a honeydew, no netting, but it tasted great.
But it was yellow.
Fine,
It was yellow. It didn't have the green in there. My point is the green in there shows this is not completely ripe, so it'll be another day or two. Now
you can get that one over there to show how ripe it is. The one on the end.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. The difference in it ripe.
Oh yeah, so this one right here is that golden color right there. This has a decent knitting on it right there. So we know cantaloupes are the height of their flavor when you pick them ripe. But cantaloupes is one of those things you can pick a little bit on the green side if you need to.
And let it ripen.
And let it ripen, because once they oh, that was going bad right there. Once they ripen on the vine there, you don't have much time at all to get them off there. So you can pick them in what we'll call the breaker stage, which is when a cantaloupe has green, but it has some yellow in there. For the home gardeners, the best time to pick it. Now the commercial guys can pick them completely green and they will ripen. So cantaloupes will ripen. I do think you lose a little bit of flavor once you pick them green, but they ripen quick. So
Yeah.
if you're going to be out of town or you got some issues of some mice or anything or disease or anything, you can pick them with a half green there, put them up and they'll ripen in just a couple of days. So cantaloupes is one of those things will ripen off the vine.
And they hold well in the fridge too. Like I took 5 or 6 cantaloupes and seeded them and cut them up, and they'll last in the fridge a week
Now,
or so.
now they're only on melons. Let's talk about watermelons because I sacrificed a watermelon to show everybody.
Oh no.
Yep. Let's get this out of the way a little bit more. All right, folks, this right here is one of my watermelons. I'm growing this year. And you see as you come off the stem there, you go to what we call the curlicue. Now this right here is the curlicue. You see how that curlicue is still green. You want that curlicue dried all the way down to the main stem right there. That's an indicator that that watermelon is ready to pick. So we know this one's still green here because that curlicue's back down. However, there's always an exception to the rule, and let me tell you about that. When your watermelons first start coming in, your vines are still really in good shape. Your first crop, you need to let that curlicue dry all the way back down and then give it a couple extra days, because what's going to happen is it's going to still be green. The weird thing is once you get those first ones off and those vines mature out there, anytime you see that curlicue dried, if you can pick it, and they pretty much be rest assured it is a ripe watermelon. But those, for some reason, those very first ones that come in, you want to give those an extra couple of days once it gets dried down. After that, use the curlicue all the way through as an indicator that that watermelon is ripe. You see on the bottom side there, this was laid up against something right there that kept it from getting the cream bottom on the bottom. That's also another good indication if it's got a big round cream bottom there. So what I normally do is I look for this first and then I look for that creamy bottom next. I can almost assure you this right here is not totally ripe. So we'd leave it for a couple more days, but I did sacrifice it.
I was going to say cut it myself.
Just to show everybody I can. And watch it be completely ripe.
The truth.
The truth.
Do you
Now,
know? It's popping.
It's popping a little bit.
Do you know your watermelon?
Do you know your watermelon? Look there, folks, just as ripe as it can be. What do I know? What do I know?
Long spiel, and now it's
spiel.
running.
Well, let me put it this way. That curlicue was going to dry up real quick. How about that? When I seen that creamy bottom, I thought to myself, man, this one maybe. Anyway, nice ripe watermelon there. Normally speaking, folks, you want to go on the curlicue right there. I wonder if I got the other curlicue. It's completely blown my mind there. All right. So. Anyway, on watermelons, let's move that to the side. We'll eat watermelon after a while.
I want to taste that a little bit.
It looks like pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh, it smells. It's like fresh cut grass.
Man, giving everybody lessons on watermelons there. Oh, let's cut it. See what it does.
I'm about to lose the veggies here.
Man, that is sweet. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. All right. Always exceptions to the rule, folks. Now, I will say in my defense, my vines are really mature. So my plants are really mature. So,
I should have made you cut
you
it.
shouldn't have made me cut it like an idiot in front of everybody. All right. Move this back up here. Let's talk about tomatoes. All right. So if you didn't know, my family's been in the tomato business all our lives, so I can talk about tomatoes a little bit. This right here is what we call a ripe tomato, which of course most of you know that. See how nice red it is?
Soft.
Very rarely do we let our tomatoes get to this stage when we pick them. All right, so from a tomato lingo standpoint, what we have is we have green ones, which is, that says totally green ones. We have pink, we have orange, and we have ripe. That's the different stages we talk about tomatoes. This one right here would be considered a pink.
Is that a halcinator?
Yeah, this is breaking right here. See how it's got a lot of little green in there. Now you can pick that tomato right there and it will ripen up, what, 4 or 5 days, you think? It'll ripen up pretty good. I do think that you compromise a little bit of flavor when you pick them at this stage here and let them ripen to ripe before you eat them. So that's what happens a lot of times. You know, we go to the grocery store and we buy a tomato and we always say it didn't have the flavor. Mm-hmm. Well, the reason is because I think it was picked at a greener stage and ripened, not on vine there. So you don't have that, you don't have all that maturity of the tomato to have that flavor in there. Because the reality is, this right here is a halcinator, and I will grant you some halcinators are in the grocery store because the halcinator on the east coast of the United States is the best-selling tomato seed. Mm-hmm. I know some people's gonna give me some slack on that right there, but I was in a meeting last week and I confirmed that. It's the best-selling tomato variety on the East Coast of the United States. I'm talking about commercial and residential market. So
when is
so if you pick them, you can pick them green, but they're gonna take a long time to ripen. I don't recommend picking them green unless you're gonna fry them green. Pick them in the pink stage if you need to.
Or if you know it's fixing to rain, I go and pick the pink ones so they don't split.
Blow up. Now I think the ideal, and this right here is on the light stage, what we call the orange. If it was this color all the way around, see it's still a little green up front. This color right here all the way through is what we call the orange stage. Now this, I think, is the stage most people should pick their tomatoes in. They ripen pretty quick, but they still maintain a lot of flavor. The problem with this right here is you're out to lose it so quick. If you let it get ripe on the vine, yeah, it's gonna be full of flavor, but you can go out there, some type of field rat can get into it, birds can get into it, it could blow up. Rabbits, it could blow up. So harvesting at this stage and ripening this stage, I think is probably the best strategy. If you wanna go out on a limb and let it ripen up, take your chances, you can do that. Tomatoes. Tie-dye, this one right here is ripe. It has a little different color to it right here. Here's a more one in the pink stage of the tie-dye. See how it's just turning pink there? Has those stripes there. You can tell the tie-dyes because they get a little soft.
And they're a lot softer.
Yeah. Just one thing right here quick. Okay. These yellow boys, that was ripe. These things get the ripest the quickest of any ones I've seen. You told me you go out there one day and you pick them,
yeah,
and the next day you go back out there and you got ripe ones. So you really have to keep an eye on these yellow ones.
They're softer too.
They are softer.
So what time of the day should you pick?
Oh, well, it's according to what it is. So tomatoes, watermelons, any kind of fruit, I normally do it first thing in the morning, late afternoon, or whenever I get time.
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Because the carbohydrate levels are higher.
The plant's not stressed. That
in the
makes
morning,
sense.
it's not stressed, and there's more energy that's went toward that fruit.
That makes sense. So
morning time is the best time.
With the exception of one.
What's
you know which one that is?
Okra?
Okra. You never want to pick okra when the vine's wet. So you may be...
Well, pretty much everything you want to let the dew dry.
Yeah, but okra's one of those things you want to pick in the middle of the day. Or late in the afternoon. Late in the afternoon is a good time for me to pick it. But you don't want to pick this early in the morning when it's wet. Cantaloupes can spot up on you as well. Watermelons, you don't have no problem. Tomatoes, I don't have any problems. I can pick early in the morning. Cucumbers, peppers, and all that.
Talk about okra, when to pick it.
All right, so when to pick okra, at what stage to pick okra. And you see this right here. You see how Mama Hoss clipped that top off right there? That is the exact way not to do it.
Well, I didn't have a
good sharp knife, did you?
Yeah, I was popping it. With okra, if you get it before certain, it'll just snap right off.
And if the plant's not drought stressed. If the plant's drought stressed, it won't snap. Right here, and she snapped this one right here, but that's where you want to cut your okra is above the little head right there. When you do it like this right here, it hold up as well. So you want to cut it right above that right there. And like I said, if the plant is plenty moist, not stressed, you can go through there and snap it, especially when it's small. When it gets this stage, you can't. But I normally have a knife on me, a ring knife or a regular knife. I can go in there and cut it smooth there.
We've got some of those on the table somewhere.
Ring knives?
I thought I did.
I think everybody knows what a ring knife is. We should show them sometime. All right, folks, so this right here is jambalaya okra, which is our best-selling okra. Jambalaya okra is a wonderful okra, but look here, if you don't want to cut okra, don't plant jambalaya okra. I tell people this all the time. I was at a meeting with the jambalaya breeder last week, and we talked about this right here. A lot of you guys out in Louisiana love your okra long. Jambalaya is not the variety if you want to pick long okra. The downside of jambalaya okra is it will get woody if it gets bigger than this right here. So if you want long okra, go with something else. If you want short okra like what we grow here in Georgia, jambalaya okra.
We tend to pick it short.
Yeah, it'll outproduce any rest of them 2-to-1. All right, so let's talk about what stage you want to pick your okra. Now, this is subjective to what part of the country you was raised in. On the east coast of the United States here, we always pick okra on the small side. Cajun boys, y'all just gonna have to forgive me with y'all's cow horn that y'all like to get big, because we just don't do it that way here. Cow horn's a great variety if you want to grow big okra. Otherwise, let's talk about the way we do it here on the East Coast, and we've been doing it this way all my life. And I guess yours as well. Did y'all grow much okra? Mm-hmm. You did? All right, so the way you want to cut it is from this stage right here on up. From that stage to that stage right there, I think is an ideal stage for frying okra or stirring okra or any kind of way with okra. Now, if you're going to can okra
Or pickle
it, maybe smaller than this.
Well, I like to do mine in a half pint, so I'll go through. No, they're about this size.
Okay. Now, red burgundy seems to get a little bit bigger than this. If you want to do larger jars of okra, I normally recommend red burgundy or Jing orange okra for those. It's a little bit better pickling okra if you want to put them in those big jars and make a little bit bigger okra. But for us in jambalaya and Clemson spineless, this is about the size you want right here. Of course, you want to clip it right there. Late in the afternoon, if you got to go out in the middle of the day, it's okay. But late in the afternoon, you can also go out there when the heat's not quite as bad. Walk through there and cut your okra. That is considered right there a fancy cut in the commercial market, and this is considered, no, excuse me, that may be considered extra fancy, and this would be considered fancy, and this would be considered choice, which is the less desirable. That's the most desirable in my book right there.
Yeah.
That stays there.
Okay, talk about
Every other day on your okra. If you go out there and you got
Yeah.
jambalaya and it's every other day from that, boom, it'll get too big on you.
Talk about jalapenos.
Jalapenos normally have a little cracking on them as they get older. You see it right here, not a real big issue. Cracking from the homeowner standpoint, it doesn't cause any problems. The commercial guys don't like cracking, so they don't want to sell the ones in the grocery store. If you leave jalapenos on the vine, they will turn red. It's just a natural progression of jalapenos there. The normally they stay on the vine, the longer they stay on the vine, sometimes they get a little hotter. A lot of times the heat is bred into jalapenos and they've measured at different times. So different varieties will heat up at different maturity levels here. This is the most popular way people love to pick jalapeno peppers right here, is in this stage right here, before it starts turning red and before it starts cracking. Now some varieties crack less than others, but that's pretty much, that's a halcinator there, I'm almost positive.
It is.
That is a perfect size right there of jalapeno to pick. Some of the newer varieties of jalapeno are a lot bigger. I looked at a couple varieties last week in some trials.
Bigger than those?
Yes, made some huge jalapenos.
Holy cow.
I'm not a real big fan of the huge jalapenos. Megatron is one that makes a big one. But I like that size right there for me. Don't you think so? Mm-hmm. Good green, slick right there. When it gets about that size, you can pick jalapenos.
And your this is a banana pepper. You can let them get red as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about bananas just a minute. You got one right here. Bananas will also red up on you. This was maybe not perfect. That's a good one right here. Let me show both of those right there. Now, banana pepper, this is Gold Rush right here. Banana peppers, to me, once they get a good size, and they'll get kind of that goldish light color, they'll turn from a darker green to that more lighter lime green right there. That is the ideal stage for me to pick banana peppers. Where's your orange one you had right here? If you get them to get this stage right here, they normally get a little cracking on them because they're getting older. Yes, you can pick and eat the orange ones, they're fine here. But I find that this right here is the ideal maturity size. And most of the time, if you got a good healthy plant, you're gonna make a good size banana pepper. Banana pepper.
They're loving this heat.
They're loving this heat. All right, so let's
Bell
talk.
pepper.
Let's go poblanos first. Now, poblanos can get huge. I normally don't grow just huge poblanos. This is about the size we like to grow right here because we like to stuff them. They get a lot bigger than this right here. When they get about this size right here, that's where I pick them out. They start getting that dimpling in there. They have that nice dark green color there. You can pick them here or you can let them get a little bit longer. They don't crack as bad, but you can let them get a little bit bigger if you want to, or they hold on the plant as well. That's a good size right there for me to pick poblanos, which is one of my favorite. All right, let's talk about bells for a minute. Got a couple different sizes right here. Just about most of your bells will go to a red stage after they leave green stage. However, we have varieties that turn yellow and orange and all that.
I know. I've got some out there. The yellow and the orange, and the peppers are huge. And
You waiting on them to turn?
my patience has been tested.
So the weird thing about peppers here, this is a great pepper for the home garden area. This pepper wouldn't make it for the commercial farmers. They want them big blocky peppers.
Stuffing, yeah.
There again, I'm relating back. I spent a good hour with pepper breeders last week. Do you know this right here? Bell peppers specifically are not bred for taste. Have you ever heard anybody say that bell pepper was so much better than that other bell pepper? Bell peppers have got a distinct flavor, and they're not bred at all for flavor. They're bred for disease resistance, they're bred for size, and they're bred for color. So that's the three main things the pepper breeders are going for: size, disease resistance, and color. They want them to pack out well. So bell peppers, just bell pepper flavor. The red ones, once they get that stage here, they're fine. Another thing about bell peppers, they hold on the vine a long time.
You know, growing up, we never grew anything but bell peppers. Never.
Of all the peppers, bells are probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
And you're one of your favorites.
Yeah, I think it's just because that's all I'm used to.
Yep.
Cucumbers.
All right, hand me the cucumbers there.
There's two.
Now, cucumbers are one of those things which we pick as what we call immature fruits. So squash, when I say squash, I'm talking about summer squash, and cucumbers we pick as what we call immatures. We don't want these things to get mature because they're going to not be good to eat.
They'll get pithy and seedy.
Inside. These are pickled cucumbers right here, and this is the ideal. I guess that one right there is the
I
ideal.
actually cut into them and you can see the difference.
Yep. You see there's the difference in there. The smaller size normally is more desirable than these larger sizes right here. Now these things will get out of hand on you in a hurry.
In a day.
So we normally pick our cucumbers, go through there every day, but in fact we need to pick them at them today.
I picked them yesterday.
And you missed a couple because I seen them this
wow.
morning. So that's the size right here that we want to pick our pickles, put it back together right
Yeah.
here. That's ideal right there.
These are those tasty, no, what do they call them?
Mini-me.
Mini-me's.
Now these will get bigger, but they don't get, when they get this size right here, they slow up a lot. These don't have ribs on them like a regular pickle does. Now these are really good snacking cucumbers right here. Or if you want to eat them fresh like we like to cut them up, I am a big fan of the mini-me's. I don't know how they do with pickles because I don't think they're quite as crisp. Let's see. I don't think they're quite as crisp
Crispy.
as a pickling, regular pickling cucumber.
Well, I'm doing a deal with pickles with those.
Or we'll see how they turn out. I think it's a great fresh eating cucumber where you just snack on them or eat them. So, mini-me. All right, what else have we got to go over?
Let's talk about beans.
Beans are also one that we pick as snapping beans.
Yeah.
Now, some people will let beans mature out and they'll shell the beans.
And use them as dry beans.
And leave them dry beans, or either they cook them as whole beans.
I prefer the smaller size. You know, some people let them get this big.
Well, that was stung up.
Yeah,
man.
I was trying not to show the stings. That's off of Eddie and Valerie's. Some people just let them get this big and then they pull the whole plant up.
Now, we're talking about snapping beans, folks, which is way here in the South. We do our beans.
But we like them this size.
And immature about that size right there is ideal right there. If they get much bigger than that, it gets stringy and tough. Butter beans, the other way around. We have to have our butter beans fill out so we can shell them. Cause we
These
shell
are
them
actually Ford hooks, which
is a lima bean.
which is a lima bean. They get bigger, and these you really have to go by feel.
So we was at a meeting in Alabama the other day, which was National Gardening Bureau, and we was at a huge table, and we got to this discussion. Somebody asked a question: is lima bean a butter bean? And it went all the way around the table, and they finally come back to me because they wanted my opinion, and I said yes. A lima bean is a butter bean, and a butter bean is a lima bean. Now they was horticulturists in this group. This was a pretty profound group of people sitting around this table here, and some of them questioned me on that right there. But I held to my guns, and I said yes, I know this for a fact. A lima bean is a butter bean, and a butter bean is a lima bean.
One of them actually had to Google it. And
one of them had to Google it, and she finally said to me, Greg, you're right.
You are right.
And I said, would you please repeat that one time? She said, Greg, you are correct. So, lima beans are butter beans, and butter beans is a southern term that we love to use, but these Ford hooks right here, you need to let these things mature out to a pretty good size because we got to shell them.
You got to shell them, but you can pick them a little bit younger.
Yeah, but they work you to death shelling them.
How many beans have you shelled?
They tell me they work you to death shelling them. All right, you got one more thing.
One more, tomatillos. This is the purple. And so you want to let it get purple, and the husk will dry up. A lot of times fall right off. And these you really don't want to pick immature.
You want to let those ripen?
You want to let those ripen.
You know more about those than I do.
I've got some salsa fermenting with these right now.
So maybe that helps you folks. Some things, especially on the watermelon, I really made a boo-boo there. All right, let me do this right quick. Knife of the week, because I almost forgot about it. All right, I want you to pronounce this right here, folks. If you buy a knife in one of these tubes right here, you can almost guarantee it comes from a company called Great Eastern Cutlery. I've talked about them before, but I actually found this knife this morning that I really didn't know I had. So you see this right here?
To do it?
Tied out or something like that right there is a brand of Great Eastern Cutlery right here. Folks, this right here is a traditional knife company up in New York State that I think is a better knife than Case Knives. Some of y'all's gonna give me some slack on that right there. This is an old knife company that makes traditional knives up in New York State. They are very hard to find. If you try to shop for these right here, they just always are out of stock. And when they do release a production run, they go quick. $10.95, high carbon steel. That carbon steel that gets that patina on it right there. Great Eastern Cutlery, and this particular brand here, somebody help us find, make sure we're doing that. Tadoubt brand right here. They also make the Great Eastern Cutlery, but the knives are made in the same plant. Basically, it's the same knife, different brand on there. Comes in these knives right here, USA made. I think is a better knife, better traditional knife company than Case. That's just my thoughts on there. So check them out. And give me some feedback and let me know what your thoughts are on that, because I love to talk about knives.
Okay.
All right. We have made a mess here, haven't we?
Can you set that right
Yes,
down
we
there?
can. Yep.
Oops.
Something by the wayside. All right, we got a mess here we got to clean up. Give us just a second to get organized. We got okra, cucumbers, peppers, cantaloupes, watermelons.
Watermelon juice.
Edamame. All right, so garden of the week, folks. And this fella here sent us in a bunch of pictures. We're going to try to go through them.
So Mr. Freddie Biggs.
Miss Freddie, I enjoyed your picture so much. I went through all of them.
He's from Cantaloupe, Florida. He sent us a letter, and he actually sent us pictures, printed out. Good pictures. Thank you, Mr.
So this is his version of the Florida weave right here that he's using right there. I'm going to go through all these pictures. You don't mind. Give me just a second here. All right, this right here is his Blue Lake pole beans. And this is his Chef's Choice tomatoes in a 3-gallon root pouch. Look at there.
Yeah, he grows mostly in containers.
Yeah, we don't grow a lot of Chef's Choice because it was interesting to me to see that one. It's a good variety. It was bred out of California, but it's a good variety As far as taste wise, didn't have the disease resistance in. I wish it had. A good one. Also, he's got red snapper tomatoes right there that he's proud of, and he should be there looking really good. Market More cucumber on a cow panel trellis. Look at there. All right. Look at there. He's got a onion drying stand. He also uses our bags, also our mesh bags, drying out his onions.
Yeah, he said he experienced over 95% germination, and he uses all Hoss seeds.
Sapelo onions in elevated wooden beds. Sapelo is a great onion variety right there, named after Sapelo Island off the coast of Georgia. And he's got a big beef variety of tomatoes right there growing. Look at that, ain't them pretty? Wow, that's a big size for a big beef. This is his entrance to his garden right there. Got it nice and decorated. You can tell he takes a lot of pride in his garden. All right, here's Vidora onions in pots, which I tell you folks, I think Vidora is probably the best all around onion seed that we sell is Vidora. He's got Vidora, Sapelo, and Sofire right there laid out. We love those red onions. Carrots in elevated beds. Folks, carrots is wonderful to grow, but raised beds I am beginning to think is the way to go on that one right there. He's got his German white garlic. Interesting to see how that does that for him in Florida. It look pretty good there so far. Man, at the pictures, y'all bear with me. We're gonna get through all these right here. All right, he's got a row of Hausnader tomatoes in a 5-gallon bucket. All the tomatoes, 95 plants in buckets. Wow, what a crop. 95 in buckets. Sweet and hot pepper, bodacious variety. That's not a variety I'm real familiar with, bodacious.
We had bodacious corn.
Brandywine variety, I'm familiar with that right there. So thank you for sending those. Those are wonderful pictures right there. We enjoyed them so much. It's good to see people sending the pictures proud of what they've achieved.
All right, old goat.
Old goat drawing. The old goat, folks, is a figurine, and he danced around today. If you found the old goat, put in the link below where that old goat was, and next week we'll do a drawing for this week's winner. This week's drawing is for last week's winner, and the winner is Sarah Moore. Sarah, send us your shipping information to
support@growhouse.com.
and we will send you a wonderful pack, not a pack, but a pair of socks. Ba-boom, 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 Sarah, look there. Send us your shipping information, we'll get those shipped right out to you. All right, harvesting time.
Eat some watermelon.
Eat some watermelon. Thank y'all for joining us. Hope y'all are having a wonderful harvest as well. If you get out there and get dirty, make sure you do it late in the afternoon, early in the mornings. Stay cool because this heat's going to be tough. It's going to get worse in the next few days. Thank y'all for joining us.